Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to be looking at pre-halving year returns. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. Let's go ahead and jump in. So when you look at this chart, you will see, in fact, that we're generally tracking pre-halving year returns. And if we isolate 2023, or if you look at 2023 right here, you can see that it's currently coming in at about 2.14x off the yearly open. Okay, so a little bit more than 2.1x off the yearly open. Now, if you show all of them, if you show all of the prior years, you can see that the current year is sort of in the middle of the pack, right? Like it's not anywhere near 2013, 2011, or 2017. So let's go ahead and take those off. But it's also nowhere near our bear market years of 2014, 2018, and 2022. So it more or less falls somewhere in the middle, right? It hasn't gone up as much as it did in 2019 at this point, but it also hasn't had the lackluster returns that 2015 had at this point. And one of the things that I often like to do is just simply compare it this year to other pre-halving years. Now, when we started this year, right? So when we started 2023, one of the things that I frequently mentioned and have continued to say throughout the year is that I expected Bitcoin to trade between approximately 75% of its yearly open to 2.1x off its yearly open, right? And the way in which I arrived at that, which I mean, it is dubious, of course, but it was just simply looking at the average of the prior pre-halving years. One of the reasons why I sort of looked at that was if you look at 2022 and you average out 2014 and 2018, it basically told you where Bitcoin was going to end the year, right? The average of 2014 and 2018 said that the year-to-date ROI by the end of the year was 0.338, and the end of the year ROI for 2022 ended up being 0.346, right? So the end of the year ROI on Bitcoin in 2022 was the average of the prior two bear market years. And so, one of the things that I've said is that if we average out 2015 and 2019, it might give us some insight into the behavior of Bitcoin in this pre-halving year. And initially, you can see Bitcoin sort of took off a lot quicker than the average of 2015 and 2019, but they sort of found each other going into the summer, where you can see that, and ever since then, really, it was tracking it fairly closely, right? You can see that Bitcoin went up just as the average of 2015 and 2019 did. It sort of tracked that average for a while, even getting our summer low where we went down. We fell below the bull market support band thanks to a seasonal correction in the S&P 500, and it was still trending down. And then we got this most recent pop up to the upside. Now, at this point, I think it would be somewhat fair to say that this is starting to exceed my expectations for price action this year. Because again, what I said was that around 2.1x off the yearly open would essentially mark the high for Bitcoin in 2023. But as of right now, we're above 2.1x, right? So we've gone above 2.1x. We're currently sitting at 2.14x, right? So 2.1x is just approximately $35,000, right? So 2.1x off the yearly open is 35K, which I thought, if achieved, would have occurred in the summer. That was my assumption, right? I thought that if we were to achieve 35K, it was more likely to happen in the summer. But you can see that it still eventually came, even though it did not happen in the summer. So then, of course, the question is, as always, well, where do we go from here throughout the end of the year? Look, short-term price predictions are not easy, and to be completely honest, right, because it's already exceeded my expectations, it would be difficult for me to sort of say anything other than it would likely just continue to follow the average of the prior two pre-halving years. But I will say, one of the things that I've learned throughout all these years is don't underestimate Bitcoin. Don't underestimate what it can accomplish to the upside is something we often forget. And then the same thing goes for the downside. We often forget how far down it can go in those bear market years of 2014, 2018, and 2022. But so far, our expectations of 2.1x off the yearly open could mark the high. We have gone above that. If we were to go look at the price of Bitcoin right now, you can see it's currently, it's almost at 36K. I don't even know, it might have already hit. It looks like it came pretty close to hitting 36K already. It hit 35,971. So it almost hit 36K already. But that was just sort of the thesis going into this year, and we have sort of extended above that level. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Going throughout the rest of the year, if we look at prior pre-halving years, you have 2019, right? Let me get rid of the average. We don't need to look at that, right? So we'll have 2023 up. So you have 2019, which actually saw a very similar pump around this time. It did get a small sell-off into the year, and then it started trending up again in early 2020. 2015 had a nice spike around this time as well, and then it dropped a little bit going into sort of mid-November, leveled off for a little bit, and then trended higher into December. And then 2011, basically sort of saw a downtrend going into mid to late November, followed by a little bit of a renewed uptrend going into the last month of the year. So that's essentially what happened in the last three pre-halving years. Yes, there is the SPOT ETF narrative, of course, that has been sort of the leading narrative for this year. People ask me, like, what do I think about the SPOT ETF? My hope is that they just get approved, right? I think it's been silly that it's taken as long as it has. I hope it just gets approved so that we can focus on other things. Again, it seems silly that we have all this other stuff that track other markets, but you can't. There's not a SPOT ETF in the United States that tracks Bitcoin. So hopefully we'll see that get approved. But that is your pre-halving returns for Bitcoin. So we have in fact gone 2.1x off the yearly open, which was sort of my expectation for the high-end target for Bitcoin for this year. Clearly, we are just north of that. So we'll see how much juice Bitcoin has left in the tank over the next month and a half. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and again, check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. See you guys next time. Bye.